Over the past several months, economists across the United States have been sounding a warning that is becoming louder, sharper, and far more difficult to ignore. They say the American economy is approaching a major turning point, a shift that could redefine jobs, prices, markets, and the daily lives of millions of people. What makes this warning different from the countless predictions that appear every year is not just the message, but the unusual agreement among experts who normally disagree on almost everything. Some see early signs in consumer spending, others in the job market, and others in the global trade environment. Yet together, these signals are forming a pattern that suggests a big economic change is coming, and the country needs to be prepared for more uncertainty than usual. Everyday Americans are already feeling part of this pressure. Groceries that used to cost a small amount now take a larger portion of a paycheck. Rent increases are pushing people out of neighborhoods they have lived in for years. Interest rates have made it more expensive than ever to buy a home or start a business, and many young people say owning a house feels like a dream slipping further away. Even large companies, which normally stay confident during economic cycles, are beginning to quietly adjust hiring plans and tighten budgets. A move that often signals caution about what lies ahead. Behind the scenes, financial analysts are studying trends that typically appear before major economic transitions. One factor they are focusing on is the rapid slowdown in savings. During the past few years, Americans spent money confidently, believing the economy would remain strong. But now, savings accounts are shrinking. Credit card debt is rising to new levels, and many households are relying on borrowing more than ever before. When spending habits shift this dramatically, it often suggests that people are struggling to keep up with everyday expenses, even when wages appear stable on the surface. This creates tension in the economy, because businesses depend on steady consumer spending to stay healthy. If people pull back, even slightly, it can ripple through industries, affecting stores, restaurants, travel companies, and service providers. Another area raising concern is the job market. For years, employers complained about worker shortages, but now some industries are reporting slower hiring, reduced hours, and in a few cases, quiet layoffs that never make the news. The job market is still functioning, but the early cracks are becoming visible. When job growth slows, it creates a psychological shift. People become more cautious with money, delay big purchases, and worry more about financial security. This caution itself can slow down the economy, creating a cycle that becomes difficult to reverse. Economists say that if job growth continues to weaken, the United States could face a period of adjustment that feels much heavier than a normal slowdown. Global conditions are also shaping this warning. Major economies around the world are facing stress, whether from political tensions, rising energy costs, or struggles with manufacturing. When global trade becomes unstable, the United States often faces the impact in delayed shipments, higher prices, and weaker demand for American products. Some experts point out that the world is entering a phase with more competition, less cooperation, and more unpredictability. For a country as interconnected as the United States, these global shifts can act like waves hitting the shore, sometimes small, sometimes powerful, but always noticeable. One of the biggest questions is inflation. Even though experts debate how quickly it will fall, the reality is that many families are still paying significantly more for essential items compared to a few years ago. High prices have become the new normal, and that alone is causing frustration across the country. Inflation affects trust. When people feel they cannot control their expenses, they become anxious about the future. Economists worry that this anxiety, combined with rising debt and slowing jobs, could contribute to a larger economic shift. If people lose confidence in their financial stability, the entire system reacts. Investors are watching interest rates closely because they influence everything from mortgage payments to student loans to car financing. Higher rates were meant to slow inflation, and while they have helped to some degree, they have also made everyday life more expensive. Small businesses, which form the backbone of local communities, are struggling with higher borrowing costs. Expanding a business or hiring new workers is now far more expensive than before. This creates a chain effect. Fewer expansions mean fewer jobs mean less spending, less spending means slower growth, and slower growth increases the risk of recession. Even though nobody can say exactly what will happen, the warning signs suggest the economy is entering a delicate phase. Experts emphasize that not all major changes are negative. Sometimes, an economic shift can lead to new industries, technological growth, or better long-term stability. But the transition itself can be rough, especially for families already under pressure. Some economists believe the United States might be moving toward a period where technology replaces more traditional jobs, where automation changes workplaces, and where global competition reshapes industries. These changes may create opportunities in the long run, but they also create uncertainty in the short term. People may need to adapt faster, learn new skills, or look for different types of work. Housing remains one of the most critical pressure points. Many families simply cannot afford to buy a home, and rental prices continue to climb. Some experts warn that the housing market is becoming unsustainable for younger generations. The combination of high prices, low supply, and expensive loans has created one of the toughest housing environments in decades. Unless conditions change, this could become one of the most influential factors driving the next economic shift. When housing becomes unaffordable, everything else becomes strained: family budgets, savings goals, and financial confidence. Despite all these warnings, the American economy is known for its resilience. Throughout history, the United States has adapted to crises, recessions, and global disruptions. But experts say resilience alone is not enough. The country must prepare for change rather than react to it. Individuals may need to rethink spending habits, build emergency savings, and stay informed about financial decisions. Businesses may need to become more efficient and more cautious. Policymakers may need to consider new strategies to stabilize markets and support households. The message is not to be afraid, but to be aware. Many experts describe the current moment as a crossroads. One path leads to a controlled economic adjustment that stabilizes gradually. The other path leads to more turbulence, with sharper changes that affect jobs, prices, and financial security. Which path the country will follow depends on decisions made today, both by institutions and by individuals. The warning is not meant to create panic, but to encourage preparation. Big changes do not happen overnight, but the signals appear long before the impact is fully felt. Those who pay attention early have the best chance to protect themselves from uncertainty. In the end, the message from experts is clear. The United States economy is strong in many ways but vulnerable in others. A major shift is coming, and the country must be ready for a future that could look very different from the past decade. Whether this change becomes an opportunity or a challenge will depend on how people respond now. The next few months, and possibly the next few years, will reveal how well America can navigate this new economic landscape. For now, all signs point to one truth: the warning has been given, and the time to prepare is now.